Hello and welcome to Where the Living Room Used to Be, a podcast about Rhode Island's music scene. Hey everyone, it's James. On this bonus episode, Paul Dechichio shares some music advice, as well as what inspires him to run a record label. You'll hear his thoughts on where to make your purchases, and how important it is for a band to have a good live show. Enjoy this little mini episode, and please tell your friends about the show, subscribe, leave a review, and follow along on Facebook and Instagram at LivingRoomUTB.
What would you say is the best piece of musical advice someone has given you?
It's not necessarily something that someone has given me, but something that I sort of compiled out of the DIY community.
Okay, so from that scene,
yeah,
from them.
Exactly. Back in the day, I used to do like CDR samplers.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like burned one song from each release and like gave them out and mailed them everywhere. And what I had written on there in the liner notes, and I try to keep with this as often as humanly possible, is step one, remember where you spend your dollar matters. And I feel like that can sort of spiral out in many different ways. And it's really important to really think about where you are buying product from, but then also if you're a producer, where you are getting stuff produced from. So I try very hard to only work with United States record plants for pressing records, because it matters. Like, it matters that I'm not going through a secondary who works with a plant in the Czech Republic or something like that. It's important to me to work with a person that is pressing records.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to me to get music mastered by Keith Souza at Machines with Magnets or Will at Dead Air, because they're people that I know that dollar matters, you know. And that's not to say that other, producers don't matter, but I'm saying that if you can see the impact of what you have decided to do, that matters more than blindly purchasing or blindly consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is a good sort of mantra for all aspects as well, outside of music.
Yeah.
So that's really been step one.
Yeah. And from your years of doing almost everything in music, is there a piece of musical advice you'd give to someone else?
Sure. My advice would be to produce what makes you happy, what's interesting to you. Push yourself to expand your musical boundaries. Also, not necessarily concentrate on the live show, but remember that in terms of music, what is consumed live matters more than what is consumed on record. I've seen many, many bands that blow me away live, that the records might not be the best thing. And that is how you really capture people with live music.
Are there things that inspire you? I mean, it could be musically or just in life that you'd like to share?
I've always been really interested in the creation of a thing. And so the idea that I could be the vehicle to make the physical records exist was always it was always interesting to me. And so the whole process kind of drives me to get that final product in my hands.
Yeah.
You know, creating music that's a big drive as well, obviously, playing in bands. You know, the idea of people coming together with ideas and creating something that like works, something that sounds good, but then taking that and creating something actually physical out of it was like, I feel like that's a huge thing. And, you know, over the course of the years, being able to help bands that I believe in create a thing that they probably wouldn't have been able to do easily without me.
Yeah.
It's very humbling, you know, being able to be the person that creates the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an odd act running a record label because, so for the 10-year anniversary comp, it was the first time that I could write like a thank you note or an insert from the view of the label. And one of the things I said is like, running a record label is, it's a faceless job where, hypothetically the owner of like Capitol Records walked by you on the street. You'd never know that.
Yeah.
Like at all. And so you kind of have to be the sort of person that like wants to create and make a thing exist. Cause like no one on the street is ever going to like thank you, even if it's their favorite record. Like you could have put out their favorite record and like, or even at the show, like unless people know you because like I'm here and I do a lot of stuff in Providence, but like recently one of the bands reunited from Connecticut and going to those shows, like I'm just another person in the crowd. Like, you know, they give you a shout out, which was great. And like, they're thankful and come up and like hug you afterwards. But it's a process that you have to sort of be a person who's okay with being the driving force and not the face.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like you're standing next to people in the crowd, and you're like, I have a little part of like the reason why you've listened to these records and you're here now. You know,
exactly. You're singing along because I like helped make this exist. But like you know, it's an interesting seat to take. You know.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Paul. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks again for listening. As you've heard a couple times, both here and on the full podcast, Paul puts a lot of focus on live shows. So here's a live track by Twin Foxes from the Tor Johnson 15th anniversary show at AS220. The song is Sleeping on the Attic Floor, and you can find it on Tor Johnson Records' Girls Rock RI benefit compilation. Enjoy!
Blood separates from my hands, social eggs and inconsiderate. I'm paused and rushed to explain it. Don't want me here. I can see it on your face from far away, like a billboard on the freeway. It stick around.